late. All right, call to order. Please join the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Marcy, could we have a roll call, please?
Matt, we got John,
Here.
Jerry,
Here.
Justin,
Here.
Betsy, here, and
Doug, not here. We'll need a motion to approve the agenda with a change.
yes,
We're going to be adding, after citizen comment, before the consent agenda, Vive IV is here and
Stephanie on.
she may or may not be online at this point. Would like to present to the council a request, and then it is actionable tonight if we want to take action on it
For a forgivable loan.
for forgivable loan.
And Alex for partners in the audience tonight.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Seconded.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
And I,
We'll open the meeting for any other citizen comment at this point. Anybody online besides Stephanie? We'll close the citizen. Alex, I'm going to ask you, because is she on?
She's not on yet.
Okay.
I have a feeling she won't make it. She had a procedure done at about 3:15 today.
Okay. So you want to just go solo?
Yeah,
Okay. You're on.
I'm up. All right, my name is Alex Gerd. I did print out just a couple of proposals for the council members if they have any questions about stuff. There's pictures in here, so it's not as big as that. I guess my main goal is really just to introduce a project that we have going on. I don't know where it is in terms of what you all know about it. I know we're currently working with our contractors to get stamps on our plans and everything, but this fall, we hope to put up a new building next to kind of Darkbird and across from Jumbo, lot number 3, under Valley Estate. We've been in business since 2016 in Dubuque. We have really 3 different entities that share one facility. Balance Integrative Health and Wellness, Vive IV Therapy, and our Select Balance Supplement line. And since 2016, our businesses have grown year over year to the point where we can no longer fit in our 900 square foot space. So starting in February this year, we closed on a lot across the Jumbo, and looking forward to putting up a new building. My main goal is to introduce that project, so we start moving dirt, people start asking like, what's going on? You have a pretty good idea of what's going on. And it's a lot of years in the making. So I provided some background information for you all. Obviously, construction today is different than what we thought it was going to be a year ago, or 2 years ago. So we're approaching the city of Augusta to see if there's any public partnerships that we can do there. Within the proposal that I presented to you, we're building out approximately 9,000 square foot space, maybe a little bit smaller with a second level. We still call it a loft, although it's closed in for other purposes, but gives a little bit of background information on there. We'll essentially have our 3 businesses housed in there and about 1,500 square feet of tenant space available for other like-minded healthcare professionals like us. We have a really unique business. We're one of the few in Iowa and one of the few in the Midwest. We have people that travel a decent distance to come visit us. We support a lot of people from Cedar Rapids and Davenport, a lot of people in Iowa City. We just recently put up a small clinic in Cedar Rapids as well. Some of you may see we have a little mobile clinic that drives about 90 miles radius every day. So we provide healthcare services. People may not travel to us. A lot of the people that we see have cancer diagnoses, and we are added benefit to the treatment. So What you'll notice in there too, the coronavirus pandemic really amplified our customer base. People realized that they didn't want to get sick and made a lot more healthy choices. And if they got sick, there wasn't a lot of help for them when they were ill. So we actually had people calling us from the emergency room saying, hey, can you get an appointment? And then they can come visit us. I guess if there's any questions related to the business, I would answer them. What we're here kind of approaching you about is the potential of a forgivable loan. As our project has kind of morphed over time, there's a couple of things that we hope to accomplish that we just don't have in our budget currently. The primary kind of funding that we would like is to build out a little bit of outdoor space. Some of our patients receive treatments that may last, 6 or even 8 hours a day, and they come a couple times a week. In our current clinic, 900 square feet across from Hy-Vee, there really are no windows. There's not a lot of fresh air. So we really are looking forward to allowing them to, be outside on a nice summer day. In addition to that, if there's some additional money left over, we want to build out kind of a kitchenette upstairs. We're providing about 2,500 square feet of open space to host yoga classes, dance classes, really health positive educational classes. And with that, we would like to offer some cooking demonstrations and things like that to really improve the health of our communities. So if there's any questions you have.
I just want to verify, you would be moving your business here. This is not in addition to what you're doing in Dubuque.
We will, yes, my plan is to move the business completely here. We might hang on to the 900 square feet for a temporary point of time. Just moving away from Dubuque gives an opportunity for someone else to come in and kind of take over our space or our business. But yes, our primary location will be here. It might just take a little bit of time to
Understood.
I have 2 questions. How many full-time employees, part-time employees?
currently.
Yeah, currently that you have, and then how many would you be adding on?
Yeah, we have a small space right now. Stephanie is our nurse provider there. We have 2 full-time nurses and 1 almost full-time nurse. She drives the bus around. We have a full-time receptionist, a couple of part-time receptionists, and a couple of part-time fill-in nurses.
Okay.
As we move into a new facility, I think within a year we'll probably double that pretty easily. The tenant space, who knows who's going to move in there and be able to provide additional business. And then we just kind of forecasted about 3 years to add more positions there. But we have, I don't know, I can't remember, about 17 different rooms in the building now, so we have to fill them.
And I think the question that everybody would probably like to ask is, what amount would you be looking for as a forgivable loan?
Yeah, the second to last chapter, so there's kind of 2 paragraphs there. I'm asking for $75,000 split between $50,000 and $55,000. $50,000 devoted to the outdoor space and $25,000 to the kitchenette area upstairs and tables and things like that. But again, we're open to any opportunity that there is. The project's going to be completed, no matter what. It just depends on how fast we can provide some of this to the community members.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Is this something the city's done in the past? Does anyone know?
We have done forgivable loans. Jumbo has one for 25,000. Dartbird, I believe, is at 50, and I think Round 2, I think yours is at 50 as well.
Are there any contingencies that are put on the bill?
There is, yeah. Yep.
Like, I'm just asking, 'cause I don't know.
They have to stay in business. That's the first and foremost. Obviously.
Good one,
Yeah.
good one.
That one.
Like that one.
And then there's a few other ones. I mean, we can tie employment to it.
Okay.
But it's a formal document that is drawn up by our bonding attorney.
Another point to add is, we have people that travel in from all over. We've actually had people flying from Texas to receive a week's worth of care and stuff like that. It doesn't happen very often. We try to keep them in Texas. But a lot of it is bringing new business to the area.
And again, this is something that you can decide on tonight, or if you'd like to think about it, we can always bring it back on the 27th.
My bigger thing isn't necessarily this particular project. I think it's our overall policy, that just who gets what, and when, where, and how. We don't have a
System.
we don't have a system, we don't have a criteria of anything. I think we need to internally look at this and say, okay, what do we want to set as a
guideline.
guideline, a metrics of, okay, this big of a building or whatever, before we continue to go down this path. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, no, I think internally we need to figure it out first.
Yeah, and if we're the business that helps you, do that, we would love to do that as well. I think we're gonna be here for the long term. I've lived in Piasta my whole life, and Stephanie has been in Dubuque, but we have a house just down the street. So it's a community that we really enjoy. If we can make, the system a little bit better, we appreciate working with you guys.
That's kind of where I'm at.
There are questions, comments from anyone else?
I think I'm with John. I need to
Yeah.
actually sit down and figure out
Okay.
what we're gonna.
All right, I think we're gonna table this, or we're not gonna table this. We won't take any action tonight.
And then we can perhaps bring it back on the 27th. That would be our next council meeting.
Do we want to work through this through a work session first?
It's up to you.
Right? I mean, I'd like to, before we make any decisions, say, okay, here's the grand plan of how
Sure.
to do this stuff.
Let's hold that date for the work session, and that will be October 6th, would be our work session.
Would you appreciate us being there during the work session or after?
You don't have to.
I don't think it has anything to do with your project in particular. This is an internal, what we gotta figure out.
Okay.
And you're more than welcome to.
No,
I mean, they're exhilarating.
Yes.
If you've got 3.5 hours. come on
You want to know where your taxpayer dollars are.
in. Not being spent with this group.
But proposal looks nice, the project looks nice.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Financials mean anything at this point, or any financial information okay.
And if it makes anybody feel any better, we have everything approved through our lending in Dubuque, and, we financed for the project.
Yeah.
So
Okay, great.
Not that this matters, when do you plan on breaking ground?
last March,
When everybody else.
actually, we originally purchased lot 2, and then our project has kind of grown from there. So we did kind of a buying trade to move to lot 3 to be able to provide additional parking spaces, and they're building a little bit bigger, the green space significantly larger. So we're ready to go now. And I think, I don't know what you all are involved in, but our contractor Garland Construction out of Cedar Rapids is working on getting our plans stamped by whoever the powers to be in the city. So I think it'll hopefully move soon.
Great. Excited. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Alex.
You're free to go. Okay.
This might entice you to come back on the 6th.
Moving on then to consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll second.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
John,
Motion carries. Moving on to Parks and Recreation with Stacy.
Yes, you guys have any questions on anything that's on here?
so are we moving the fence back on down here? Just moving it to the sidewalk.
Yeah, so.
The sidewalk will be leveled.
Correct, so they removed the fence is gone. Public Works has been working, cul-de-sac up. But yeah, so there will be a 10 approximate 10-foot sidewalk from our parking lot down to the cul-de-sac. And then the fence will start right there once that is completed.
Nice.
I would like to ask a request of the council, if you could write a letter of support for the Kelly Oaks presentation that we'll be doing to the county board of supervisors next Monday. I would appreciate it. As the perspective of being a Piasta resident. We're doing that presentation Monday. I'm not sure what time it will be. I'm assuming it's going to be somewhere between 9 and 10:30. And as soon as they release the agenda, I will let everybody know. Okay. Thank you.
You said Monday?
Monday, the 19th.
Along with that, to partner with that, if you guys know anyone throughout the city that would be willing to do the same, I think more letters we have.
How many letters do we have right now?
14.
Did you put anything on social media?
Yes, sir. Yep. And we've been putting little refreshers out there as well. And it's out on the website. But social media gets a lot more traffic in our website, I'm sure.
Okay.
All right, any other things for Stacy? All right, thank you, Stacy. Moving on to police, chief.
Yeah, you guys have my report in front of you. Do you have any questions? I guess there's one thing I will add. The new squad will be coming late next week. I know it's been kind of a whirlwind of when we're gonna get it, but they're building it currently right now, and that is coming next week for sure.
Like waiting for Christmas.
Knock on wood. One more thing, it just came in. I don't know if you guys remember about so I put in for a grant. It's a safety grant for the crosswalk area out here. It's a AAA grant for the school safety zone area. I just got an email at like 5:50 basically saying that I had received the grant. And I don't know the money value yet. It just says that I got it. So next meeting I'll give you further, but I did receive the grant for it. So that's a good thing. And I think that could be up to $1,000 or more for safety features for that area up there.
Great.
And I think there's more to it, but I'll let you know next meeting.
So you listed out some of this equipment here. Is there something more to it than just listing out?
No, just listing out equipment. So you guys know we're kind of stuck with a niche. I thought it'd be a good idea to list equipment when we received it. So kind of you guys have an idea of when transitions are. So
Yeah, so there's no surprises during budget.
there's no surprises of when.
You know that the equipment is getting older and getting more use and.
Kind of gives you guys.
I figured there's a request coming on behind that.
Yeah.
Makes it a little less painless, right?
All right, any more questions for the chief? All right, thanks, Mike. And Public Works, Dean? Anything to add to your report?
Nothing to add. Any questions or concerns on anything on the report or anything else that taken place throughout as far as construction or streets being dirty or anything?
Right? Come on.
Is anybody moving along in any type of their licenses or anything like that?
At this moment, no, just because of the fact that we're so busy.
So what do we have to do we just have to get on the calendar? We have to try to get towards that?
A lot of it has to do with the location of the classes. I know that they had some set up over here at NICC.
That
And
was
they,
in Kelmar.
I thought that the NICC had some classes. And they didn't
There was
have.
NICC at Kelmar.
The Calmar campus.
Yeah, so.
So it's not just as easy as jumping over here.
Right.
No,
That would be awesome.
it's not. It'd be nice if they did have them over here, but anytime they have scheduled one in the past over here, it's always been canceled just due to the fact that there's not enough attendees.
It's where they usually had point.
But it's definitely on the radar.
All right, anyone else, any questions? Dean? All right, thanks, Dean. I think we'll just skip past the new agenda item and move on to resolution declaring necessity and providing for notice of hearing on proposed urban revitalization plan, 2022 Piasta Urban Revitalization Area.
Okay, yeah, so this is for Joel Callahan's 40 acres, to set this, public hearing up, to designate that area as a urban revitalization.
Public hearing on the 20th.
On the 27th is when I'd like to hold that. And then we'll have a resolution that night, an ordinance that night, and then we can choose to waive the second and third reading. And then, since he's signed the certificate waiver of the public hearing, he can waive that right, he can waive the 30-day waiting period on the end. So it'll be a urban revitalization area on 728. And he can start now.
Or 2 weeks ago, or a month ago, or, sorry.
So yes, just looking to have the public hearing set for September 27th.
Okay,
Make a motion to have it on the 27th.
I'll second it.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
Carry on.
motion carries. Ordinance Title 6, Chapter 2, Wireless Communication Facilities.
I've been talking about this one for quite a while. This is brought up because we're getting people that are wanting to put up radio towers. And I don't want to see these ending up in anybody's backyard if they have square footage available. So this is just put in place to protect the city and have guidelines that the developer or the wireless communications people would have to follow.
Anyone have any?
And Dan Fox was very helpful from ECIA
Great.
in helping me put this one together.
No action.
Pardon me?
For discussion.
This is a first reading,
Okay,
and you can certainly waive the second and third one.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading, Title 6, Chapter 22, Wireless Communication Facilities.
Second.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
Carry on. John, I.
Motion carries.
I will also make a motion to waive the second and third readings of Title 6, Chapter 22, Wireless Communication Facilities, Communication Facilities.
I'll second.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
Carry on. John, I.
Motion carries.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt Title 6, Chapter 22, Wireless Communication Facilities.
I'll make a motion to adopt. I'll second.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
Carry on. John, I.
Motion carries. Moving on. Water treatment, Ken, payment number 20. Dean, I'm gonna assume you've looked this over.
Yeah, actually, Alden and I have had discussion on that payment. And both agreed upon the dollar amount.
Okay. Anyone have any questions about this payment? We'll need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the wastewater treatment facility contract payment number 20. Second.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
Carry on. John, I.
Motion carries. Wastewater treatment facility change order number 7. Again, Dean, we're good here as far as,
Again, Eldon and I did have discussion on this as well. want to expand on that?
Yeah, I
Give a
can-
brief explanation.
You guys don't have microphones anymore. All right. So, just to kind of give an idea of where we're at, just to preface all this. The pay app you just, approved is basically completing all of about $8,000 worth of work on books for that project. The wastewater project. There's still some sludge that needs to be removed from the existing cells, and some other cleanup work. But basically you have a total of $371,000 held in retainage. That's that 5% of the contract value that's also being held until all the work's complete. So I just kind of wanted to make sure that that's out there and you understand that there's the future payments are contingent upon them completing the punch list items. And then we lower that retainage as they've done it. But generally, you're pretty close to being the end of the project as far as construction costs and things like that.
What's the timeline for that completion?
So right now, your contract end date is September 30th. And the big remaining item that's out there and what this change order also pertains to is this sludge that's being removed. Okay, so at this point in time, all the sludge that was put into the tubes is gone from the site. So that contract value of that initial 3,000 went to the bid value is paid out by that pay app. The change order that's in front of you is for the balance of the overage from those tubes that's been removed. Okay, so that's the number that you see in front of you for the 61,139 is for the 200, it's equivalent to 291.14 wet tons of material above that 3,000 that was taken to the landfill. So that's squaring it out for what they've removed to date. What they have left in the cells right now is the stuff that they've squeegeed basically on the bottom, the stuff that they didn't get when they sucked the bottom into those bags. And so that coming forward has to meet the dryness standard, it has to do everything else, them to dispose of it. Like I said, you still have September 30th as their day of having that all done. But right now, they're planning to start that as soon as Monday of next week is what they've told me.
Do we estimate that they'll have it done by the 30th then, or are we?
We're sitting in a situation right now where they're filter test, which is the criteria that it needs to pass to get to the landfill as is. If it doesn't pass that test, they basically have to lay that material out in that flat spot where they have the bags, disc it, let it dry longer until it can effectively pass that when they load it up into the trucks. So they could be able to start hauling and disposing as soon as Monday, or they could find out that they need to take this and spread it out on that kind of earthen spot that's out there and disc it and wait a couple days for this to dry.
Why have they waited so long?
I've been asking them that myself.
What was their answer?
They focused on getting those bags out of there because that was the primary area that they needed. So we've been working on dewatering, which is one of the other issues. I don't know if you guys, for how much you guys we're all aware of this, but we have a bunch of the water that was collecting in those rainwater and various other things that was in those cells. We piled that up into two of the cells, 5 and 6. That are on the hill under the assumption that we were able to discharge that water from the permit. And over the course of about, I don't know, 3 months of negotiations, maybe 4 months of negotiations with the DNR, they finally agreed to let the city pump that material back up to the effluent of the existing plant to put it into the creek there at a rate congruent with the capacity of your new plant. So it was a negotiation. Instead of being able to discharge 2.5 million gallons a day, you're able to discharge about 250 to 300,000 gallons per day. So it's going to take longer to do it, but at least it's able to get out of there without having to go completely through the treatment.
Or sludge in the lagoons then?
There's potentially some sludge at the bottom of those ones that are full of water because they were dredged just like all the other ones were, but they've been full of water since November of last year when that water was stacked up in.
What's the plan for those?
So once that water is out, they'll have to come in and evaluate whether or not there's a small enough amount of sludge at the bottom that they can just stay. Or be spread across other topsoiled areas around mixed in with the fill areas for that site. Or if they have to do the same thing where they have to basically come in and squeegee it up, throw it in a truck.
So that probably won't be done by the end of the month then, right?
What's that?
That stuff that's in the lagoons probably.
I don't believe you
Pretty
guys
good
have started
chance it's not
discharging.
What
I don't-
kind of penalty? It's not done.
So you guys, within the contract, you guys have liquidated damages associated of, I believe it's $750 a day for every day past when that day isn't complete. Part of this that, we have to take into account though is that water is there because we weren't able to discharge it. It's not because they didn't dewater it, it's because we had nowhere else to go with it. So it's not a full-on fault type scenario that we're talking about with those two cells, 5 and 6.
Is there any penalties that the DNR is gonna throw our way if we're not done in a certain period of time?
So went back in, the earlier part of the year, we discussed, the timelines of everything. The big dates that we were worried about was the US EDA's deadlines. So they have this end of September deadline as well for completion of the project, which they've agreed didn't need to include the demolition activities, which is categorized as sludge removal. So we technically were able to work out with them that you have until March to deal with the sludge. I'm not saying that we want to wait that long. I'm just saying end of the calendar year, we start to worry about it. If it's not done by then, because it's going to be really hard to get that material out if it's frozen under snow. But in terms of like meeting the obligation for that financing, getting that last payment to the contractor and getting all the documentation by March.
So this additional sludge removal at the bottom of the lagoons, is that all baked into this, or would that be above and beyond?
So anything that goes through the landfill has that unit rate established with it.
So this would be above, this is above.
Yeah, it would be the $300 a well, or sorry, 210.
So this is for, you have land on the ground?
This covers, it basically blanks out everything that was in the tubes. So everything that met the dryness standard that was in the tubes is covered under this.
How over were we when the fall? Finish up.
So we're talking, it was 291 wet tons over the 3,000.
Plus whatever's left in the ponds.
Yeah, so whatever's gonna go in there, and that still has to be looked at from making sure it's able to go to the landfill and making sure it's dry enough, because it still needs to meet the dryness standards for that rate to apply.
So this is our final that we discussed, that we've been discussing for last year.
This is the tubes, this is the.
Right. So I don't know, some of our conversations, some of our questions were, what's Origin gonna do as far as, since they were off by so much? Do we ever get an answer for that? Are they gonna contribute to this at all?
No,
But not, kind of. Any estimate of what's left in there? I know we've kind of asked a couple times.
no, I mean, I've basically been able to go out there and I can't even walk around. I went out there, I don't know if you guys saw that report that I sent, but I went out there to clear the areas that they want to start moving dirt around, to clear those and identified which areas in four still have sludge in. And basically unless somebody takes me out there it's something, yeah, I got up to about my knees in that sludge and I couldn't walk anymore. So I've been able to look at it from a width standpoint, but I can't actually get a good estimate on how even tall that sludge would be. I can tell you that it's probably a 40-foot wide swath. But where I was at was the areas where they were starting to walk out, so it's deeper. It would be 6 inches. When I get somewhere else on the site, it could be 2 feet.
So we're talking potentially could be an additional significant amount of,
Yeah, there's gonna be more to take care of that.
another 61,000 or more.
I mean, I don't want to put a number to it, but I would expect that, yeah.
You expect all of this?
I would expect at least this much more, yeah.
But not the 3,000 we were talking about, over the
No.
3,000
No,
back in February.
no, I mean,
No, it's much better than anticipated.
Very, yeah, I'm going, well.
Now we're feeling good about it.
Yeah, 291, yeah, that was the goal. That was the goal. Yeah, so 291 is much better than 3,000 or,
But they're still off.
but, yeah. So, all right, so.
Off by 600. What tons? At least.
Yeah.
So being that they're not taking the stuff out and it's gonna be wetter than if they would have laid it out and dried it, it's gonna weigh more.
Correct. It's not gonna go through the pre-salt process either when it was wet.
yep, so there's adjustments within the spec to adjust that unit rate. That was originally 300 down by a certain percentage for every percentage that they don't. So that
At this point, we're just hoping they meet dryness.
Well, I mean, the whole point of that is so that you're not held in damage for them not being able to get it high as what we anticipated they would. It's just to make sure that you're not, the intent of that is not to penalize them. The intent is that they do their due diligence to get it as dry as what the expectation is.
Will you be back here on the 27th with another change order in a couple weeks? Will you have another
No,
one?
I don't think they're gonna be done that quickly.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect to do another change order until it's all gone.
But now we have are we gonna need to extend the date from the 30th?
They have not requested that yet. If they request that they want to have an extension of the date, then I will be forwarding that through everybody to get that extension in place. I don't know that also, so that also doesn't need to necessarily be decided before the 30th. Just needs to be considered in terms of what is that plan in place. Right now, I've been asking for that plan for over 2 weeks. Since I went out there and they gave me their plan on what they wanted to do. I've asked that they provide it in a timeline, and I have not gotten it, so I'm not here to give, I can't give you, unfortunately, an update on what timeline they think it's gonna be. They've told me until they get in there and they can actually scoop this material and see whether or not it's disposable at the landfill in that condition, they can't generate a timeline.
And you're working, is that Portson or?
That would be both of them, yeah.
I personally don't think we should recommend paying this until we figure out how much more is down there. How much more of a bill we're gonna get after. Is that possible?
It's always possible to reject. They have removed the material, they have performed. In my opinion of the contractor due to partial payment.
No, I'm saying to get the estimated on.
Oh, I mean, this won't be processed. Your approval of this won't be processed until PAC comes through and they ask for this payment. So that won't be at least until October, I don't know, the meeting, October, the next, their first. Maybe the 11th or something. So I should have that before the 11th.
So you could come back to us with a number that might be a final.
Of what's still left.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to see whether or not they're done by the end of October. I mean, by the end of September. I don't know if they'll be done, so I don't know if I can give you that answer at that meeting, because I don't know if they'll be done. I can definitely, when I get this plan, pass it along so you guys have it for the next council meeting.
I think the problem, John, is that you're withholding payment from Portson, not withholding payment from Nutrajet or Origin.
He's been requesting a plan for, what'd you say, weeks?
Yeah, but this is for work already completed. This is
Right, I understand.
future work.
I understand where it is.
Okay.
Or you wanna hold it just so they,
See the final number, see how bad, see how far off the estimate really was.
we should pay it.
I'd like to see what the final number is gonna be, even if it's estimated.
You wanna wait until maybe October's meeting before? Should be what,
Get us numbers.
I guess the other piece of this pie, and I'm respectful of any decision you make, I don't wanna impede your decisions. The retainage that we discussed, right now they have requested a release of retainage. I've got that in front of Dean and Nat in terms of that value. We've calculated there's about $90,000 worth of punch list work to do, primarily related to the clarifier paint that failed. But there is of that, how we do this is that you take the remaining punch list times 2, so 200% of that, and that's how much you keep in retainage. So you got about 200-ish that you would keep in retainage from keeping another 170 that they would request for retainage payment to the next payout. I mean, the value of that work, of that remaining sludge to be taken back can also be included in what is not allowed to be returned in retainage at this time. If that helps any of your conversations. So you do still have skin in the game towards making, complete the work or getting something.
No action or make a motion? I think we're probably hung up a little bit, so I think we're gonna take no action on this tonight. Yes, no, okay?
I just think you're punishing their own people. That's my opinion. I mean, I get that they're holding off doing that. But I think our overall concern is where that weight is, not who's taking it out.
If you're gonna pay it, go ahead and make a motion. If you want to pay it, it's fine.
I'll make a motion to change order number 7. Approve change order number 7.
I'll second. Lexi, I.
Vote aye.
Jerry, no.
John, no.
So motion does not carry, so we will not make the change order tonight.
Can I ask a procedural question?
Sure.
Do I need to resubmit a new version of this for you to consider it again, or do I?
No, this,
I
yep, this will be fine.
all right.
Sheldon, thank you. Moving on to highway lift station change order number 5. Everyone had a chance to look this over.
This basically is a no-cost change order, payment, payout. It's just basically a description, a rundown on what's been submitted.
Everything's working good down there?
There are a couple bunch of things that are gonna be addressed, but there is still retainage withheld.
Motion to
But yeah, as far as operational, everything goes.
make a motion to approve lift station number change order.
I'll second.
Lexi, I.
Justin, aye.
Jerry, aye.
John,
Motion carries. Moving on, Enterprise Drive pay application 6.
and Dean, you've looked at all.
This payout request was for change orders that were discussed month of August due to unforeseen underground utilities and such that had been, that conflicted with the original project. Which we talked about in the month of August too.
I'll make a motion to approve enterprise drive pay app number 6.
I'll second.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Motion carries. Any citizen comment at the end of the meeting here? All right, close that. We'll need motion to.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Lexi, I.
Justin, I.
Carries. Thanks, everybody. Well done. Alex, nice to meet you. Thanks.